Want to be a shrimp expert in the kitchen? Here's everything you're doing wrong with your favorite crustacean, from tossing shells to tossing heads. Finding fresh shrimp at the grocery store is sometimes harder than one would think. The shrimp on ice at the fish counter may look fresh, but appearances can be deceiving. Chances are good that it was chilling in the freezer just a couple of hours before. Go for the shrimp straight out of the freezer instead. These shrimp were likely flash frozen on the shrimp boat. Don't buy them from the shrimp counter because you don't know how long they've been there. If you buy them from the freezer, they're as close to fresh as you're going to get living in an inland city. If you really feel like you must have shrimp fresh from the water, find a store or market that sells them live out of a tank. Regardless of whether you get shrimp from the local grocery counter or a fish market, smell matters. If the shrimp smells like ammonia, then it's starting to go bad and you should just leave it alone. The same goes for shrimps that have bruised, almost black spots on them. In the sustainability game, wild-caught shrimp rated Best Choice by Seafood Watch is the most sustainably sourced shrimp on the market. Unfortunately, no shrimp currently available on the market rates that high. The next best bet for shrimp lovers is shrimp that the program rates as good alternative. The difference is that Best Choice shrimp gets harvested in a way that brings with it little to no negative effects on the marine fish populations. It also comes from well-known healthy fish stocks. In the case of good alternative shrimp, less is known about certain elements of the catch. For instance, there could have been other types of fish that were caught alongside the shrimp in the fishing nets. Sometimes it means that the fisheries management leaves something to be desired, and it's unknown how that company's harvesting methods impact the ecosystem of the environment they fish in. When reading the labels, shrimp caught from North Carolina and Texas, as well as wild-caught shrimp from the Pacific, offer good bets. Imported shrimp from Canada's British Columbia is the shrimp to aim for from the international markets. In terms of farmed shrimp, giant tiger prawns and white-leg shrimp from much of Asia, as well as from Nicaragua and Mexico, are best left untouched.
Overseas shrimp farms that use antibiotics often farm with overcrowded ponds.
When it comes time to clean shrimp before cooking them, their delicate natures begin to show. If thawed the wrong way, they start cooking prematurely. If you're in a rush, you might be tempted to thaw shrimp in warm water, but it can actually start the cooking process due to how delicate the shrimp are. Bacterial growth also presents a problem when you thaw shrimp in warm or hot water. This can lead to foodborne illnesses like Salmonella and E. coli. Options for thawing include leaving the frozen shrimp in the refrigerator overnight or giving it a bath in cold water. In both cases, you should place the shrimp in a Ziploc bag before you start the thawing process. Without the plastic bag, the shrimp will suck in the water and eventually turn soggy and mushy. If you thaw them in the refrigerator, put them in their plastic bag and then into a glass or plastic bowl, allowing them to sit in the fridge for 24 hours. If you're thawing them in cold water, fill up a large bowl and place the plastic baggie of shrimp into the water for 45 minutes. When the shrimp turns translucent, the thawing process is done and you're free to live out your wildest shrimp fantasies.
This is the dream.
It is?
Yeah.
Start the cleaning process with fresh, quality shrimp. If it has begun to smell or get slimy, no amount of cooking is ever going to correct that. Next, if you prefer to eat your shrimp peeled and deveined, this is the time to do it. Although many people prefer to eat shrimp without the shell, you don't have to remove it if you don't want to. A good rinse in cold water comes next, followed by the removal of the head and legs. Removing the tail, if you wish, comes after that. If you're not going to eat your shrimp right away, store it in the fridge for up to 24 hours at between 32 and 38 degrees Fahrenheit. For some people, the thought of cleaning their own shrimp as opposed to buying it ready-made is intimidating. However, keep in mind that you'll get more benefits from learning how to clean shrimp yourself. The number of sizes you can choose from expands, as does the list of recipes that involve shrimp. With that said, if you still can't face cleaning your shrimp from start to finish, it's perfectly okay to go with frozen shrimp. Drag out your favorite clam chowder recipe and you'll notice something peculiar. It calls for chicken stock. Why not seafood stock? Probably because you won't find it in most kitchens, but you can remedy this if you eat a lot of shrimp. All you need to make a chowder-worthy shrimp stock are some shrimp shells, which you can save the next time you chow down on some delicious crustaceans. Shrimp stock usually consists of the shells of shrimp, chopped up celery and carrots, and minced onions. Some home chefs like to sauté the shrimp shells in olive oil or butter before they add in the rest of the ingredients, but eventually all of the ingredients are boiled together and strained to rid the mixture of the shells. If, for whatever reason, you don't have the time to cook the shells into a shrimp stock right away, put them in a Ziploc baggie and stash them in the freezer for up to 3 to 4 months. If you've never had to deal with the shrimp's head, you may not know whether to remove it or leave it on when you're cleaning it. The answer isn't so cut and dry, as there are both reasons to remove its head as well as reasons to keep it. The rationale for keeping the shrimp's head on when you cook it comes down to flavor. The fat in the shrimp is in its head. By cooking the shrimp with the head on, you access the fatty flavor. For some shrimp lovers, it's quite a delicacy to bite into the shrimp's head and suck out the juices once it's cooked. Leaving the head on does have its drawbacks, of course, as the head will make the shrimp mushy during the cooking process. To avoid this, some home chefs will remove the head but cook the shrimp with the shell on. Not only does this make the shrimp crispier, but it helps retain some of the flavor that would otherwise be lost with the removal of the head. The bottom line for the head or no head debate is that you should decide what you want to do with the shrimp and then clean it with that goal in mind.
I love shrimp. I'm a shrimp eater. You put shrimp in front of me and I'll eat it till my stomach pops.
Whether it's on the grill or in a pan, flipping a shrimp isn't quite the same as flipping a burger. Because shrimp cook quickly, flipping them individually means that some of your shrimp will be overcooked and some will be undercooked simply because you can't flip each shrimp fast enough. Enter the skewer. Sliding several shrimp on a skewer allows you to grill and turn them quickly all at once, instead of turning them one at a time. If you do use skewers when you're cooking shrimp, only allow the shrimp to cook on each side for 1 or 2 minutes. Any marinade that you wish to brush on should be applied to the shrimp during the skewer stage. Rubbery shrimp happens when you let them cook for too long. They're the kind of protein that doesn't even allow for a quick trip to the mailbox once cooking commences. Instead, you need to focus on the pan or grill in front of you for the entire 2 or 3 minutes that it takes to cook them. Too much heat and too much time makes for rubbery shrimp. And too little heat and too little time makes for raw shrimp, which could make you sick. The color is the key here. Once the shrimp turns pink with no dark marks on it, it's ready to go. As an aside, it's worth mentioning that because of the short cooking time required for shrimp, you'll be doing some juggling if you're cooking other things for your dish. Plan on either cooking the shrimp and setting it aside until the other ingredients are done, or cooking the shrimp last. Any protein, including shrimp, comes with only so much of its own flavor. Seasonings in the form of marinade give proteins a little boost with the taste buds. A marinade also makes meat more tender and juicy, giving you a better overall experience when you eat it. A marinade for shrimp doesn't have to be complicated. Even something as simple as olive oil mixed with a squeeze of lemon or lime and some spices will do the trick. And in keeping with shrimp's quick cooking nature, you don't even need to marinate it for very long. Dropping the shrimp that you're planning on cooking at tonight's barbecue into the marinade about 2 or 3 hours before dinner ought to do it. You don't want it to marinate much longer than that, because some acids like lime juice will start to cook the shrimp before it ever makes it to the barbecue. In a world where everything is mass-produced to be the same size, color, and weight, it's a bit challenging to create a uniform system for sizing shrimp. However, most written recipes that include shrimp do somewhat follow this idea. The uniform sizing called for in the recipe isn't so much to make the dish look pretty, although that is an element of it. Rather, it's to ensure that you have the right amount of shrimp and shrimp flavor for the dish you're making. When it comes to the smallest shrimp you can buy, they typically come in batches of 50 to 70 shrimp per pound and work best in salad. Spoon-sized shrimp enhance soups and pastas, and you'll find between 30 and 40 shrimp per pound in this size. Large shrimp are the peel-and-eat kind that you would find in a shrimp cocktail, with up to 30 in a package. Jumbo shrimp are big enough to allow you to stuff them with all manner of yummy things, like cream cheese and bits of mushrooms. You'll only find a dozen or so when it comes to this package. If all of this is too much to remember, just keep in mind that most recipes will tell you the size of and number of shrimp required.
Shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger.
Salt in the right amounts can do wonders for your shrimp, but it can also overwhelm the delicate flavoring that you've come to know and love from your favorite pink crustacean. Unless you're planning on brining your shrimp, less is more when it comes to salt. You might be better off adding herbs like mint or dill to your cooking prep. If you feel like you need to sprinkle a little salt for flavoring once the shrimp is done cooking, do it then. That way your seasoning attempts won't overpower the shrimp's overall taste. But really, your best bet is to immerse the shrimp in a brine of salt and baking soda. As for brining, you need a ratio of 1 teaspoon of salt to a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. You'll put this amount in for each pound of shrimp you're prepping. It'll sit for up to an hour or so in the fridge, and then it's ready to cook. This combination keeps the interior of the shrimp juicy while making a memorably crunchy exterior that's tasty to the last bite.